what a PW actually is, and where it actually came from, and what kind of problems it is going to solve, and how it actually looks and works. So that is one question many people ask me, like, is it a website, is it an app, what exactly it is? So this is something that I have personally seen that many people are not able to understand. So a little about myself. So I have been in the industry for past 11 years. I run a company called Codilar. So we are primarily a Magento development services agency based in India, in Bangalore. And since we work on Magento, obviously we work a lot on a lot of e-commerce projects across industries and different sorts of models. It could be B2B, B2C, marketplaces, aggregators, things like this. So from the last 2 years, we have done a lot of work in the PW area. Today we are a Vue Storefront partner. Vue Storefront is a PW framework for Magento, which is gaining a lot of popularity. Similarly, we are a Scandi PW partner and also an Adobe and Magento partner. Cool. So in this talk, I'll be using my experience and a lot of research that I've done and a lot of information that is already there in public domain. I hope it will be useful and very helpful to you. Cool. So enough of my self promotion, and let us see what all things we'll be learning. So first thing is that we'll go back in history a little bit to understand the evolution of web, where we started and where we are today, and what is the problem, and how PWA will become a savior to solve the problems that most brands out there are facing, and a very simple demo to show how a PWA looks and feels, and what the benefits are, and how it works in the background. Not too technical, but a high level overview, so that you understand how exactly it is different and what are the technologies behind PWA, which makes all the magic happen. And obviously the importance of it. Importance has a lot of case studies from the world on the impact of PWA and who is using it. And the last part, I have a little surprise which I want to announce. Cool. So let us get started. So let us go back to the 90s. So in the 90s, let's say you wanted to shop something online. So what you would do? So the first thing that you would do is maybe you will have a room where you have a sacred room, I would say, and there would be a large CPU, a large monitor. So you would go to that room, you would power on the computer, and you would wait for 5 minutes, and you will get something like this, right? And then again, you would wait another 5 minutes, and let's say you went to Amazon.com using your Netscape Navigator, or some of the browsers in those old days. So this is how Amazon.com looked in the 90s. So it is as good as a printed paper, I would say. So there is not much interaction or anything, just a normal page, right? So fast forward to 2006, websites started becoming more intelligent and more powerful. So in 2006, Google came with Google Maps, and this they introduced a new concept called single page apps. So single page app basically means that I mean, if you use Google Maps, and let's say you go to maps.google.com, and if you try to navigate to different pages, you can see that whatever you click and whatever information you are asking, it loads instantly. The entire page does not load. So that approach is called single page app. So this happened around 2006. So this was a major disruption, I would say, that happened in the website technology. And somewhere in between, if you are a 90s kid like me, you would have seen something like this. So this was called WAP sites, which was basically used for showing websites in the mobile devices, right? So I mean, this was the simplest way you could show any information. So this is how bbc.co.uk looked like if you visited from your Nokia 6600 or something, right? So that is the history. Now let us fast forward to today. So today we have two major channels, I would say, where we are showing information to customers. It could be a web, or it could be even e-commerce or whatever, right? So one is a responsive web design that I think would have started maybe 10, 15 years ago. So the idea of responsive web design was that 10 years, let's say 10 years ago, what happened was that people started, visiting websites from their mobile devices. So the traditional websites basically was only suitable for desktop devices, and there was something called WAP for mobile devices. So this was a very headache to manage. So a new technology came that was responsive design. So what happens is that the desktop website is basically crunched down to a it to something to some sort so that it can be viewed from the mobile easily. So it was a let's say a desktop first approach. So that is something we are still using today, right? And the other channel is the native mobile apps. So native mobile apps means the apps that we download from the Play Store and Apple Store, right? So people usually build the app for iOS and Android, and there are several ways to build. So you could build you could write Android code and iOS code separately, and that is what is called native mobile apps. And also you could write hybrid code, so that you have two apps with the same code base. So these two we'll put in a category and we'll call it native mobile apps. So these are the two things that we have today primarily. All right. Now let us understand what are the problems of this. So mobile site. When I say mobile site, what I'm meaning is the RWD or responsive web design, which is a desktop website. But if you visit from mobile, you can basically see the mobile version of it. But the same code is basically squeezed and crunched down uh, to be able to show in a mobile device. So the first problem is poor user experience. So let's say, I am a guy who always uses Snapchat and Instagram, WhatsApp, and YouTube on my mobile using my app. And if you ask me to go to a responsive website on my Chrome browser, and if you compare the experience between what an app is giving me and what a mobile browser is giving me on an RWD site, right? So there is a huge gap. So nobody, I mean, none of you would have used Google Maps from your mobile browser, Chrome browser. You would definitely would have had an app for it, right? That is because RWD site does not have the capability to give a very sophisticated user experience on the browser, right? And next is the full page load. So most of the RWD sites, if you let's say you went to an e-commerce website, you went to the home page, then you're seeing a say a menu. If you click on let's say the shoes category, then what happens is that the entire page again starts loading from blank, right? Then if you click on a product page again, there is a full load that happens. Unlike let's say if you use an app, right? So let's say you're using Amazon or Flipkart or whatever. If you click on something, instantly it pops up, right? So that difference was there. And RWD sites basically does not use your smartphone features. For example, traditional RWD sites cannot send push notifications. It cannot work offline. It cannot use your camera. It cannot use your geography. I mean your geolocation, etc. So these kind of limitation was there. And as I said earlier, the approach was a problem. It was a desktop first approach, which was really fine 10 to 15 years ago when mobile devices were just coming into the market. But now what has happened is that if you see any B2C e-commerce, especially in India or any part of the world, right, it will be more than 60%. In India, I would say it is around 90%. So when 90% of your visitors are using mobile and trying to engage with your brand from their mobile device, and if you're giving a desktop first approach to them, that is not going to work, right? It's pure common sense. Now let us look at the app. What are the limitations of the app? So the biggest limitation of the app, as everybody can easily understand, is the downloads and updates. So if you see my mobile phone, I would have maybe an Amazon or a Flipkart, right? More than that, I will not go and install all of the brands apps of all of the brands I would usually shop from, right? So that is the biggest problem. So for example, I cannot go and install a Louis Philippe or a Tommy Hilfiger or a whatever brand I'm using. The brand cannot expect me to go to Play Store and download it and keep in my phone and always update it whenever they want. So that is not something I will do. And the main reason is the second point, resource usage, because every app takes a certain amount of RAM, a certain amount of disk on your phone, and it also slows down your phone, right? So an average guy would not want a lot of apps sitting on his phone. And from the brand's perspective, there is a high cost of development and maintenance because there is iOS on one side, there is Android on one side, and iOS and Android basically keeps on updating their OS and very regularly, right? So you need to have an Android development team, an iOS development team, maybe in your company, or you have to outsource somebody, and these guys have to always update your app. So there is a constant cost of development and maintenance that a brand has to incur. And if you even if you do all these things and you have a fantastic app, you are a very good brand. As I said earlier, there is no guarantee that people are going to download the app and keep in their phone. Maybe they'll download and maybe purchase something and uninstall it, right? So, for example, let's say it's a jewelry brand. So, how often would you buy jewelry? Maybe once in a year, twice in a year. If you're really rich, maybe 4 times in a year, right? So, why would you want to have that app sitting 365 days in a year? Cool. So, enough of limitation of these two things. Let's see what are the good sides of these two. So, if you take a native mobile app, it has very high capability. High capability means a lot of sophisticated features, right? The user experience is really great, and it can use the graphics engine and all the hardware of your phone. So that is the reason study says that 87% of time spent on a mobile device by anyone is on the mobile apps, not on the mobile browser. But study also says that 49% of smartphone users worldwide install 0 apps per month. So despite having such a great capability and such a great user experience on your mobile app, if 50% of the users are not going to install it, then what's the point, right? Now talking about mobile site. So mobile site has the highest reach. So today, uh, I would say 50 to 60% of the internet traffic is on mobile. So everybody are there on mobile, right? So there is a high reach for mobile site because I mean you could even send your URL of the website in an SMS blast to everyone, or you could send a push notification, or you could just email them the link. And the moment they click on the link from their phone, they land on a website. It's a very short path to make your mobile site. Mobile site means the RWD site reach your customers. So it's very easy. The reach is really high. But study says that mobile site conversion. When I say mobile site, please don't get confused. It's the RWD, the responsive website. The mobile site conversion is almost half of mobile app. So some people used to say that users don't want to buy on mobile; they just want to explore the product. And when they want to buy, they log into the desktop and buy. But that is actually a myth. It's debunked by this study because if people are able to buy on the mobile app, they can very well buy on the mobile site also. But the reason why they're not buying is the user experience. So if you think about it, right? So it is actually a fight between reach and capability. So if you take a y-axis of capability, which is your user experience and the sheer power, right? So the native app is a clear winner here. You can see that app is there on the top, and the RWD website, the mobile site, is on the lower side. Now, if you take a x-axis of reach, right, then mobile site is a clear winner because easily anybody can go land on your mobile site, and it's very tough to get somebody download your app. So basically, what you need is something in the fourth quadrant which has high capability and which can be easily accessed by your users. So that is nothing but the Progressive Web App or the PWA. So that is the background of why PWA is needed. So let us look at some of the features of PWA. So one of the first feature is that it has an app-like interface. So Progressive Web App is basically a website. It's not a native app. It is actually a website, but it looks and feels and works like an app. So you get an app kind of user experience on the website. So that is what it is, right? So if if you are in India, let's say you would have used Flipkart on your mobile browser, or you would have used Redbus or Book My Show or Snapdeal, all the top e-commerce players, they already have PW. So if you analyze the user experience, right? Let's say you go to flipkart.com and you click on a category page. So you can feel that it works very, very close, 99% close to a mobile app. There is no full page reload. Whatever you click loads instantly. So these things are possible using a PW. And as I said, it is super fast because the entire page does not load for any information that you click on the PW. And an amazing thing is that it can work offline. So everybody knows that a normal website, when there is no internet, will not work. If you, let's say, go to any website, a normal website, and you turn off your internet, and if you refresh, what you would see is a dinosaur jumping up and down if you're using Chrome, right? But in PWA, you can make it work. So even if there is no internet, you can still show the web pages what the user has previously visited, and you can also download new information in the background when user had internet, right? And in some PWAs, you can even add the products to cart, and you can even place an order if even if you don't have internet. The logic would be like when the internet comes back, and even if your browser is closed, and even if your PW is closed, the order would sync in the backend of your whatever e-commerce platform you're using. So that is the kind of offline power PW has, and very low data usage compared to a website. Because as I said, whatever you click on the PW, right, you are basically requesting only for that piece of content. It does not have to load the entire web page again. It does not have to go to the server and get the entire web page onto a device. So only the specific amount of information is taken from the server. So because of that, you end up using very less data. Yeah, so talking about the data, right? So because it is very low data usage, PWS can really work well in your tier 2, tier 3 cities if you consider India, because tier 2, tier 3 cities do not have a very high speed internet, mobile internet. And the next interesting point is that it does not use any resource on your phone. So unlike you install an app from Play Store or Apple Store, which takes your RAM and CPU, PWA is basically sits on your phone like a shortcut. It does not consume any RAM or any significant disk at all. So because of this, you can have unlimited number of PWs on your phone without worrying about your phone going very slow. And yeah, add to home screen. So this is a very, so most people, when they think about PWA, this is what comes to their mind: add to home screen. But a PWA is actually a marketing term. So PWA is not a very fixed set of technologies. PWA means progressive web app. Progressive, the word progressive itself says that it keeps on evolving, right? So let's say 5 years from now, PWA what we have today will be fully different from what we have in after 5 years, because it continuously evolves. New technologies will be added. The browsers will have new capabilities, right? So coming back to add to home screen. So what add to home screen means that so let's say you went to flipkart.com from your mobile browser, and you saw Flipkart's mobile site on the Chrome browser. So there is an option to add to home screen. So when you click add to home screen, what happens is that this website technically gets installed on your phone. And next time when you want to access Flipkart, you don't have to open Chrome. You can just very well go to your app drawer, and you can see our website sitting like an app there. And next time you click on that, it opens like an app. You won't even feel that it's a browser or it's a PW. A normal user cannot make any difference between a PW and a native app. And the next advantage is the auto background update. So what that means is if you have developed mobile apps, you'll understand. So if you want to make any updates to your app, what you have to do is you have to publish the updates to your Apple Store and your Google Store. And especially in Apple Store, the Apple team has to review your code before they release to the public. So that would take me 3 to 4 days. So there is a lot of restriction in that way. So in PWA, it does not go through Play Store or App Store. It is direct update from your server. So whenever you want to update the PWA sitting on your user's phone, you have full control on that. And the user also does not have to update. It keeps on updating automatically. And multi-platform. So if you develop one PWA, it can very well work beautifully on your desktop browser. It can work on your mobile browser. It can work on your Android phone, iOS phone, Windows phone, whatever phone. So one single code base can work with all these benefits on all the platforms. And this is the most important point I would say, which makes PW really, really powerful. That is, it is discoverable. So discoverable means if you think about an app, right? So let's compare an app and a website. So let's say we go to flipkart.com and we go to a product page from the website. So there is a link on the address bar, right? So this link is a direct route to that web page. But for an app, there is nothing like this. App does not have a URL, right? So you have to open the app, go to that product page, navigating all the way, and your app screens cannot be indexed by any search engines, correct? So what that means is that you can market PW really, really well. So you can rank in your Google search engines. You can shoot out SMS campaign. You can shoot out push notifications, email campaigns, and just put a link directly to your product page. And when users click on that link, they directly land on the PW and on that product page without having to install anything. If it is an app, they would have to, if they don't have the app installed in their phone, they would have to first install on their phone. Only then it would work. And as I said, apps cannot be indexed on Google, right? There are some ways to do it using deep linking, but that's all complicated stuff. Cool. So let us see a demo of how a PW looks. So very basic stuff. So let's say you go to washingtonpost.com from your Chrome browser. So this is what you would see. All right. So, and if you play around a little bit with it, you would get a pop-up like this. Do you want to add Washington Post to your home screen? And if you click on add to home screen, what happens is that it will get installed. Right. Yeah. So it said that Washington Post was added to your home screen. Now, if you go to your app drawer, you can see that Washington Post icon is sitting on your app drawer. Even if you open the app drawer, it will be sitting there. And next time you click on that, you will get a nice little splash screen like this. And you have a full screen Washington Post app. It looks like an app. And whatever you click, right, there is no browser's address bar or anything. So for a normal user, this is as good as installing a native app. So just by clicking add to home screen, you technically install an app on your phone, which is not taking RAM or any disk space on your phone. And interesting part, if you click on your task manager now, you can see that it is Washington Post that is running in your background, not your Chrome browser. So even if you install the app, the website on your phone, technically it is running like an app inside the phone. Cool. So I could provide some live demos of PW, or you could basically go to Flipkart or Myntra if you're in India, or I'll show some of the websites in the other countries also later on. So you can check live, or you can check some of the PWs that we have developed at Codilla. So now let us go to the benefits part. So a lot of hype I've given about PW, and it really looks nice on paper. So let's see what it can actually do to a brand. So first thing is that without no doubt, enhance customer experience. So compared to a mobile responsive website, PW is going to kill it. The experience will be top notch. There is no doubt about that. Because of that, what users will do is users can explore more number of products than that they will do in a mobile site. And because of which the chances of your average order value increasing is really high, because they are more likely to find some other interesting products in which they will add to cart and purchase. And this is something that is unbelievable, right? So there have been a lot of case studies of PWA from the top line of e-commerce player, and most of these case studies are either done by Google or by their own tech team and published in trusted media. So some of the brands have got 500% boost in the conversion rate just by having a PWA without investing a single penny on an additional penny on your marketing side, which is your ad spends and creatives and all that. Just by changing your mobile site to a PWA, you're getting 5 times of the e-commerce revenue. So this may look unbelievable, but this is actually true, and I'll show you in the upcoming slides which brand got this. And improved SEO. I'll be discussing about this in the later part. So the idea is very simple. So you are giving a very good user experience and very fast user experience to your users, mobile users, and even desktop users. PW can work beautifully on desktop also. So because of this, people, your users are going to interact with, I mean, go to a lot of pages. So Google basically sees how your users are interacting with your website. That's how they rank, right? So because you're giving all this top-notch experience, chances of you coming up in Google rank, I mean, in search engine ranking is really, really high. And this is also a proven method. And as I said, single code for desktop and mobile and all the other platforms. So as a brand, you don't have an Android team, an iOS team, and iOS also changes, the coding language. Before it was Objective C, now they have changed to Swift. So you don't have to continuously invest in your apps. You just have a PW team, and that your desktop, mobile, and mobile apps, and higher talent availability. So PW is fully work on JavaScript, right? And JavaScript is, I would say, available right now. So you could build a PW on React or Angular or Vue.js, right? So these kind of talent is very easily available, unlike a Swift or a Objective-C guy. And this and freedom to deploy. As I said earlier, we don't have to depend on the Apple Play Store team to review our app and wait for 4 or 5 days for them to publish on store. So we have full freedom PW whenever we need. I'll tell you a story that happened to us, right? So I think this happened 3 years ago. So we were actually developing a native app for a large brand in UAE. So they were actually they were actually a marketplace selling electronics. They had a very tight deadline to make their app live. So I think we had to build in some 1.5 months. So we built an Android app and iOS app, and we uploaded it in on the Apple Store. So it's all the description, everything. We made it really nice, and we gave it for review. I think we had around 6 or 7 days for the app to go live. So we were assuming that the Apple team would take maximum 4 days to review and approve it. So the app did not have any malware or any handling. We were sure that the app is going to get published. So what happened is that on the fourth from Apple saying that your app has been rejected, and the reason was stupid. Okay, so the reason was that in the screenshots of the app we had a Samsung phone. So we were showing the screenshot of there was Samsung phone sitting on that, and Samsung's brand was there. So Apple was saying that you are not supposed to give uh, another brand's. For such a silly reason, our go live basically had to be extended. So it may look very trivial, right? So this is the kind of surprises that you might get if you depend on Apple, and Google does not do these things. I mean, they are very quick and they don't review that much, which may be a good thing or bad. This was something that happened, and in PW that is not going to happen. Cool. So let us see how it works, right? So it's a stand. So everything works on something. So what are service workers? Worker is basically something that sits on our browsers. So the browsers that we have today, right? Let's say Firefox or Chrome or whatever. These browsers have evolved and they're very, very smart now. They're very intelligent. And all the latest browsers have this thing sitting on it, service workers. So service worker, in a very technical term, is a programmable reverse proxy that sits on a browsers. In simple terms, to understand service worker, let's look at a traditional website. So on the left hand side, you can see there is a user's laptop screen, and let's say I'm going to abc.com. So in a traditional website, what happens is the moment I type abc.com and click enter, HTTP request directly goes to the web server that is sitting in some part of the world, and there would be a server, right? So the request goes there, and the response to my. So if I don't have internet, the response is not going to go, right? But in case of service worker sits on a browser and it acts as a proxy. All the requests that is going out of my browser goes to service worker first, and service worker decides what it should do with the request. So in the next image you can see, so since it is programmable, we can write what any kind of logic inside the service worker. So we can, one popular use case is that if you have internet, if there is internet available in the browser, I mean, to the server. So all the requests will go to service worker, and service worker would decide that okay, there is internet, so I will send to my server, and the response will come back. If there is no internet, what service worker can do is, instead of showing the dinosaur, the jumping dinosaur, service worker will say that okay, I had already visited some days version of it, so I will just show it instead of showing the dinosaur jumping, right? Or something very simple. Can it user activity is dropped, right? Something that we always see on WhatsApp and all the other native apps. So something very simple like this we can do with service worker, and there are a lot of complex things that we can do. But overall, I said it sits on the browser, and all the requests that is coming out of the browser to service worker, and it decides. Decide means we can make it decide what it has to do with the service worker. And service worker runs in a Danio browser. That means that if your browser, if I close my Chrome browser, service will still be running in my system, in my laptop or in my phone. That is how it is able to get push notification, right? So web push notification, even if your browser is closed, you are able to see the push notification. That is because the service worker is continuously running, and it can accept these kind of push notifications. And the other use case that I told you earlier, that you can even place order when you don't have internet, right? So that also works because of the background sync. So let's say you did not have, let's say you're out of products to the cart, and the moment you let's say the plane took off, right? So there is no way that you can check out. So if you have this kind of it, you can allow the user so that, I mean, he does not have to wait to decode, right? So he would have placed the order, and when he lands and goes to the airport, and when there is a Wi-Fi, he would not even know the order is sent to the server, and the order would have been placed. This can be service worker. This is also a very trending word. You would have already heard about it, headless. So if you see a normal Magento implementation, it is not headless. So when I say that, means the front end and the back end is separated, right? So in PWA, it is a pure headless commerce platform. Your backend would be Magento, and your front end would be something else, right? And Magento would not know who the front end is. So Magento would be exposing APIs, or GraphQL or whatever, and your front end can have. If you are a very large brand and keen on having a native app, then you can have an iOS app. Let's say Flipkart has all that, right? So all these front end channels can use your API. So there is a clear separation between the backend and the front end. That is called headless approach. The advantage is that, let's say tomorrow I want to, let's say I've built PW app and iOS app, and let's say tomorrow I'm not happy with Magento. I want to move out of Magento. Or let's say I want to upgrade Magento 2 to Magento 3, and I want to move to WooCommerce or Salesforce Commerce or whatever, right? So if we are using a traditional approach, which is not headless, then we will have to again rework on the entire front end. But if you are using a headless architecture, without touching the front end, we can change what is there in the back end, as long as we are having exposing those APIs. Cool. So So since I'm from a Magento background, and if you are using Magento, these are some of the ways how you can build a PWA for Magento. First framework is called Magento PWA Studio. So this is a framework Magento community. I would say this is in an early stage or a mid stage. It may not be really production ready when production ready. It is evolving, right? This is built on React.js and a lot of other technologies. And then we have Vue Storefront. So Vue Storefront is basically a project by a company called Devante in Poland. So this framework is built on Vue.js. The PW framework. So you can connect your Vue storefront into not sure about Shopify, Shopware or Pimcore or so it's a platform PW. Then there is something also a React-based we are nowadays using for our clients. There are multiple reasons for it. One is that it's not platform agnostic. It is actually built for Magento. So because it is built for Magento, and since we work only on Magento, and we are going to work only on Magento for at least a couple of years more, it is very simple. So unlike Vue Storefront, which is built considering that a lot of other platforms would need to be integrated, so they had to keep another layer and another middleware which will talk to the backend platform. So Scandi PWA does not have all those complications. It basically sits on Magento like a theme of Magento, and it's very easy to understand by the developers, and it does not need infrastructure. Let's say you already have a Magento site running, and if you want to have Scandi PWA, just like how you would install any other theme, you can basically install Scandi PWA and it will just work like that. You don't need infrastructure. So this is why we like Scandi PWA. Cool. So let's come to the last part, the importance, right? So the importance of PWA has been classified into three sections. One is a reach. So to understand reach, these are some figures. So there are 1.1 monthly mobile Facebook users, right? So every month, these many users use Facebook from their mobile, right? 1 billion monthly Chrome users, 1 billion monthly Instagram users. So everybody are there using these kind of apps on their phone pretty much all of the time. So the reachability on mobile is really, really high. So if you have a PWA, and since PWA is discoverable, it can be sent as a link. I mean, just like how you share any website link, you can very well reach all these users very easily. As I said, it could be a push notification, it could be an AdWords ad that you're doing, or it could be whatever, right? So it's as simple as a link. The moment they click on the link, they land on your website and start engaging with your brand. There is no blocker of downloading an app or it. So that is the tremendous amount of reachability that you will have with a PWA. The second importance is the acquisition. So first is reach, right? So you need a lot of people on this channel. Only then it makes sense. Now that is solved. Now how do I acquire? How does PWA give me the powers to acquire very easily, acquire these customers easily? So here is a comparison, right? The user acquisition cost for a native app is around $4.5. This is what study says. And for a website or a PWA, which is basically a link, it is 10% of that. So the amount that you're spending for one user on to install a mobile app, you can very well get 10 users in that same amount and start engaging with your brand. And also the SEO part. So if you are in the SEO area, right, you would have already heard this. So in 2018, Google announced that it is going to change its indexing approach. It is going to a mobile first index. What that means is Google is going to primarily look at your mobile site, the experience on your mobile site, and all the other signals from your mobile site, and it will be using those figures for your search engine ranking, including the desktop ranking. So that means it is really, really, really important to have a very good user experience and very fast loading website for your mobile traffic. Correct. And an additional point that I want to talk about is that this is a concern that I have heard multiple times. So some people ask me that, okay, PWA sounds really cool, right? Is there any SEO disadvantage for my PWA? So I'll just deep dive into this concern. So since PWA is a fully JavaScript based single page app, so what happens is that, let's say when I go to abc.com, that is a PWA, I would the first response that I would get from my server is a lot of JavaScript. There won't be any content in the first response, and this JavaScript basically executes and then goes and takes the information from the server. So the rendering happens on the client side. It does not happen on the server side. That is why it is working like a single page app. Now, because of this, there is a small disadvantage. Disadvantage is that the search engine bots, right, like Google and Bing bots and all these bots, it's quite difficult for them. So when they crawl any website, what they are going to see is a whole hell lot of JavaScript. I mean, the Google bot and all these bots will not understand what is the exact content on your web page. It has to process all this JavaScript and do the rendering and do the heavy lifting of the rendering on their own. So because of this, people are saying that you know uh, PW is not good for SEO. So while this fact is true, while the fact that bot has to process all the JavaScript to see the information, there are a lot of solutions for that. So one solution is that there are multiple solutions. One is the solution that Scandi PW and a lot of the new age PW do is they do something called pre-rendering, right? So what they do is whenever a bot visits the website, what they do is they will pre-render the website. I mean, the final output of the website would be kept ready in the server by a browser-like thing on the server, a headless browser. Pardon me if it's getting complicated. So headless browser would basically visit that page on the server and would keep the output ready. And when a bot visits that page, the server is going to give the final output to the bot. That's called pre-rendering or dynamic rendering. So the bot does not have to do any heavy lifting. It can see the output of the page just like a normal website. And whenever a normal user requests and goes to that website, they would see all the JavaScript and all that. I mean, they would not see the JavaScript. The browser is going to get the JavaScript, and the experience will be really fast. It will be a single page app totally. Okay. So if anybody tells you that PW has a lot of SEO concerns, this is how you answer that. So there is pre-rendering, there is server-side rendering, dynamic rendering, whatever you call it. It's very, very easily solved. Cool. So I took the detour. So coming back to the importance, right? So this is something that Flipkart, said in an interview in Economic Times. So, and this is a one-year-old data. I'm sure that these figures would have increased. So Flipkart says that 50% of their new customer acquisition is through PWA. It's not through any other channel. It's not through their desktop website. It's not through their Android app or anything. So 50% of the new customers that are getting are coming through PWA. And 60% of the PWA visitors who are coming, they had uninstalled the app. So 60% of these users felt that the app is not useful. All that I need is a PW on my phone, right? So if you search in Google for Economic Times, Flipkart, PW, you can read this interview. Cool. So we covered reach, right? So there is a lot of people on mobile, and we also talked about acquisition, how easy it is to acquire. You can spend less money on ads, and also you're going to get a huge SEO boost. So because of that, customers are going to finally come on your website, right? Now, how does a PWA facilitate conversions, right? Let's go through that. So this is a case study of AliExpress done by Google. So this is there on Google's official website. So AliExpress was one of the first brands to develop a PWA. I think they developed it along with the Google team. So after they implemented the PWA, this is the figures that they got: 2 times more page views from the traffic, 74 percentage increase in time spent. So because the experience is really beautiful, people love using the PWA, and a terrific 104 percentage more conversions. So if you think about it, right? So let's say AliExpress was making, I don't know the figure, let's say 100 million in a year, just by changing the traditional responsive website to a PWA, they got double the revenue. That's how you should look at it, right? They did not invest an extra dollar in their ad spends. Just by changing the website, they got this kind of result. So that is what PWA can do to your conversion. And Trebo Hotels. So Trebo Hotels is the 500 percentage conversion rate case study, which I was talking about earlier. So these guys also got a 500 percentage, 5 times more conversion. This is not possible using any other approach. I'm 100% sure. So 5 times more conversion rate just by having a PWA. And this is there on their official engineering blog. So if you search for Trebo PWA, you can read this on Google. And another case study again from Google official case study is Make My Trip, a very famous travel booking site in India. 3 times more conversions, 3 times more conversions, and 38 percentage increase in board split. So this is something that a brand would, I mean, close their eyes and go to, only if they're aware of these things, right? So in a nutshell, right? So what we discussed is the increased reach. You have very large reach, and you have lower acquisition cost, and you are going to conversions out of the park, right? So all these things put at least from a technology angle, right? Cool. So these are some of the brands. I updated this. I think it's been quite some time. There'll be a lot of other brands who are using PW. So all these guys are basically having PWAs, and they are getting terrific results, which they are publishing in the open domain. So now what is happening is that from 2019 onwards, the next level of e-commerce players are basically starting to adopt progressive web app. Okay, now coming to the surprise part, right? Surprise is that from my experience of talking about PW to a lot of brands, the biggest blocker for brand was a couple of things. So the first thing is that they did not have enough budget to basically start rebuilding their entire front end on a new technology framework like a PWA. So one is that they were skeptical whether it would work really well, because on one side they have a heavily customized existing front end that they already have. So would they want to risk it by paying this much amount of money? So that was one challenge, right? And the other one was the technical risk. So will their current team be able to manage it? Will it really work? Will I get conversion? So all of these things were basically becoming a blocker for many brands to decide, despite having a lot of case studies out there. So what we went back and did at Codillar is that we wanted to make this really easy for a customer. So we actually have built a ready to deploy PWA for Magento using Scandi PWA and partnering with Scandi PWA. So we have taken Scandi PWA's beautiful framework, open source framework, that what they have built, and we have added a lot of features on top of that from our side, which we are going to offer to our customers. So basically, using our PWA framework, they can build a full-fledged PWA in less than 30 days with maybe 10% of a fully custom PWA solution. So let me just take you through some of the uh, features of our PWA. So one is that it has 6 ready-made templates. So we chose 6 categories, e-commerce categories, where product discovery is really, really important. So wherever product discovery is really important, that means that user has to navigate through a lot of pages to finally decide that product which he is going to buy. And because he has to navigate through a lot of pages, the experience and the speed has to be really good. So that is why we chose these categories. The categories are fashion, uh, jewelry, health and beauty, home and decor, grocery, and electronics. So these 6 categories we have taken, and we have built ready-made themes which brands can basically take and customize so that it suits their uh, brand guidelines and basically go live, right? So that is something that we have done. And next is the mobile only PWA. So this is something that I have not heard many people talk about, right? So what we have done is we are giving the capability to a brand to have the PWA only for their mobile device while using their existing desktop website for their desktop users, right? So now you may wonder why you have to do that. Since PWA, you're saying that PWA can handle both desktop and mobile. Why should we restrict it to only mobile? So these are the reasons, right? So one reason is that from a brand's perspective, they already have a running website and they don't have a lot of issues on the desktop. What they always worry about is the mobile site. So they don't want to risk. They want to actually dilute the risk of replacing both desktop and mobile. So they some of the brands told me that they want only mobile because uh, so that whatever I'm getting in my desktop, I'll continue to get. And if PWA proves that it is really good on my mobile, then eventually I'll transform my desktop site also to a PWA. That is one reason. And the other reason is that uh, since the existing website has a lot of features, right? A lot of features. It could be uh, a lot of features in the customer account. A lot of complex things which is not needed for your product discovery. So such features a brand can choose not to have in the PWA. For example, let's say something like a return management. So return management uh, is not may not be required in a mobile PWA. So let's say somebody bought from your PWA from the mobile device and they're going to place a return request. So then we can show them a message saying that please log into the desktop site and you can place a return request on that. So you're giving a way for the customer to place a return request. And what the brand is achieving is that it does not have to build this return feature for their mobile users in the initial stage. So once they get the confidence of PWA by seeing the results on mobile, then they can very well keep on invest more. So this is the reason we thought that this is a critical function to have. So we have built this capability. And one very interesting feature that we are giving our user is the A/B testing. So again, we are making very easy for brands to choose a PWA with very little risk. So the capability that we're giving our brands is that they can say that, okay, I'm getting so there is 100% of my traffic, right? So I can say that only 5% of traffic goes to the PWA. Remaining 95% of people sees my existing website, right? Or they can say that it's a 50-50 or a 25-75, whatever. So what this enables the brand is they can test how PWA is contributing to conversions and experience and all these things. So let's say as a very skeptical brand, I would say that only 5% of my visitors should see the PWA, and I can analyze. Okay, how are these 5% traffic engaging with my PWA compared to the remaining 95%? Is my conversion rate really high here? Is my time spent really high here? So all those things I can compare easily without risking my entire traffic. So if I'm a large brand, I would not want to risk with a new technology. It's not really new. A lot of brands have already embraced it, but still, I think the next level of brands are taking their time uh, to digest this, but they are also missing the bus, right? So that's why we built this feature. And as I said, the SEO issue. So dynamic rendering is built in. So we are using something called Rendertron. This is again from Scandi PWA's architecture. So Rendertron is nothing but a headless Chrome, as I said, right? So it can basically render the website on the server side and give the final output to your search engine, which makes it very easy for the bots to understand a website and to read all the content. And CMS for PW. So this is also a concern. So let's say I'm an e-commerce brand. I have my Magento website running, and I have some developers or my maintenance team who is creating landing pages, who is changing banners, who is doing this and that on the front end, right? So the brand suddenly asks, okay, if I replace the existing front end with a PWA that is based on React or Vue, will my developers need to learn React and Vue to continue be able to building landing pages and all this content management stuff? So what we have done is we have integrated CMS, the the inbuilt Magento CMS seamlessly with PWA. So just like how you create landing pages, how you would be creating now on Magento, same way you can continue to manage your CMS, and that would come in a PWA channel in the PWA output. So you don't need to know any additional React JS or whatever. So we have made it really easy for them. And also we are giving a lot of additional merchandising features. So there is a open source tool called Smile Elasticsuit that is really popular in the Magento community. So we are also integrating our PWA with this so that merchandising becomes very easy. So for example, if you see Magento, right, in Magento you cannot build collections. For example, I cannot build automatic categories. I cannot say that make a category of red color shoes, or make a category of shoes that are less than $500. So I cannot make write rules and create instant categories. So this is very very vital for merchandising. So these kind of capabilities we are putting in our PW frame, and we have integrated a lot of payment gateways. In India, we have done Razorpay, PayU, CC Avenue, etc. And we also have Stripe, PayPal, Braintree, and a lot of other payment gateways which are readily integrated. So that the idea is that the brand has to take our PW framework and go live ASAP with less time and less cost. And page speed score. So we are also ensuring that the PW that we're building performs, terrific on the front end part of this thing, so that the way we are painting the data on the browser, right? So all these things are really optimized. And if you search, if you test on Google PageSpeed Insights, we are giving an 80 plus. So if you're from how important Google Tag Manager is, so in our PWA, so analytics is usually a pain for PWA. This is also a concern apart from SEO, because the way you integrate Google Analytics on a PW is completely different how you integrate in your normal website or a mobile app. So we have all the e-commerce events, all for an e-commerce website, so that you don't have to take the pain of integrating Google Analytics or whatever your marketing or clever tag, anything, right? Cool. So that is something. The next is native Magento checkout. So this is something very interesting. So let's say that you are a brand and you have payment gateways integrated in your existing Magento website, a lot of logistics built in, of customer, and after placing order. So when you are building a PWA, since it is a completely new front end, the you basically integrate all this payment gateways and whatever services you're using in the checkout, you'll have to integrate it again on the PWA. So we actually found a very smart workaround for it. What we have done is our PWA works like a PWA till your cart page. So which is where you need the maximum user experience and performance. Your users are navigating through different products, and where speed and experience really matters. So once they've identified the products and added to cart, the moment they click on checkout, what we are doing is we are loading the Magento's existing checkout page in a mobile responsive way, right? So that you don't have to integrate any of your payment gateways or any of your logistics or whatever again on a PWA. So you can use the Magento's existing checkout for your PWA, and you can very well place the order. And yeah, since we do a lot of projects in Middle East, our teams also support the right to left, that is Arabic language. So if you have seen Arabic, it's everything is written from right to left. So entire UI is also available in the right to left format. So yeah, that is the promotion of our we launched it, but it is coming really soon. Stay tuned, and this webinar only our official launch is pending. So I would like to end my talk saying this quote from Gartner. This. So Gartner says that by 2026, this is something they told PWAs are going to at least half of the consumer facing apps. So consumer facing apps means your general apps like e-commerce apps and any app that just shows information, not like it does not take a lot of sophisticated resources from your phone, like your games, like you have PUBG and all those games. Apart from this, general consumer facing apps, half of them replaced by progressive web apps. Cool. So I believe my session was helpful. Sorry for the connection trouble in between. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel to shoot out in the chat section, and I'd be really happy to answer. Nothing to go through the only website, isn't it? So that's a very version of the website to the bot, and if you give a different version to the users, isn't Google going to which is different version of the website? So we are not going to give a different version. What we are going to give is, instead of the bot processing all the JavaScript and rendering themselves, we are doing the heavy lifting on the server side, and we are giving the final the user is going to bot is going to see the same thing, exactly the same thing. It's not going to see anything different. So for Google, I mean, there is no difference. It's there's a term for that. What you said, I'm not able to recall the term, but this is not that. You won't be penalized for it. The next question is, how can this help? We need a seamless experience in checkout. Okay, so I think he is talking about the native checkout, right? So again, so this is a feature that we have. Say some they want to invest a lot of money. They don't want to integrate all the payment gateways and logistics. So this is an option for them. Now you can very well decide that no, I don't want native checkout. I want a complete PW experience on my checkout also. Then you can pay the extra dollars, and you can basically build your payment gateways and all the other integration on PW itself. I hope that clears that question. Yeah, suppose to PW, what will happen to our current native apps on the store? So good question. So if you build a PWA, nothing is going to happen to your current native app. So you can very well continue using your native apps, and you can have PWA replacing your website, so that people who are coming to your website from mobile devices or desktop devices, they will have a really a really good experience. And if you have a section of customers who really want the app, you can continue doing that. PW is not does not have to replace the app. So if you see Flipkart, right, they have a website, they have PWA, they have Android app, they have iOS app. So if you feel apps are very important, you can very well keep it. Request APIs, or is it more like a website, web services based connections? Yes, so PWA would require from user Gendo. So even the PW that we are building is going to use that. It works fully based on APIs. Cached HTML, you mean? I did not understand the question. But then the user install the native app will have two apps for same store. Yeah, good question. So see, let's say you have a PW, right? and a user is coming to the PW from their mobile browser, I mean, he does not always have to add it to home screen. He can still get the same PW experience from the browser itself. So adding to home screen is an additional feature that a PW offers. So he does not have to do that. So let's say he already has a native app, and he can maybe add to home screen, because then, as you said, eventually he'll end up in two apps with the same icon and the same name, or he can choose not to have also. So that is up to him. So for example, you can install the Flipkart app, and you can also install the you can add to home screen the Flipkart PW also. So it's not a problem. Yeah. PW is effectively replacing mobile site. Exactly. PW is actually replacing mobile site and mobile apps also. So one more feature of the PW that we're building, I forgot to mention this. So you can publish these PWAs on your Play Store and App Store also. So you can build and replace publish somebody's installing from there. It works like an app itself. So it can replace the apps. In there are still is a little slow in accepting PWA. Some features may not work if you publish in the Apple Store, but for Android Store, PWA is fully welcome. It can be uploaded. So I have another question. What I'm really looking for is how to move my current users from native apps to PWA, booking as example. So Abdullah, right? So Abdullah, what you can do is uh, if you feel that you don't want to continue investing on your native apps, you can build a PWA and you can publish this PWA on your store. And I'm sure there would be a way to make this PWA as your next update of your app, so that everybody who has installed the app, when they update it, basically what they're going to get is the PWA. So that can be a I think seamless migration. Yeah. So for iOS, for example, push notifications does not work on iOS phone, and iOS PWS cannot be published on the iOS store on paper, but there are a lot of workarounds to do that, and we have done that. It is possible, but the major challenge is the push notifications and add to home screen. So add to home screen works only on Safari browsers, I think, and iOS greater than 12.3, if I'm not wrong. It is not supported in the other browsers, but I'm sure that maybe in the next 6 months or so, this is going to come, because Apple does not have any way. And interestingly, PWA was really promoted by Steve Jobs in the beginning. So web apps concept was actually brought by Steve Jobs, but I don't know, Apple has not taken it really seriously. Okay, cool. So I think I've taken a lot of time. So thank you everyone for taking the time and joining me on the webinar. Gives me a lot of pleasure to see that a lot of people are asking questions and engaging. I hope it was really interesting. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Have a good one.